Sachin destroyed my entire generation because he made us look like genetic garbage. And I used to always say that when I scored 74 in under 15 game, the same day he got 324, and my mother didn't even congratulate me. So ball was coming onto the bat, not much grass on it. How did you deal with the bouncer there? And he said, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है, बॉल बल्ले पे आ रही थी, मैंने मार दी. Went inside a room and there's the 6'7" Tony Craig standing there, and I'm like, no way, this is not possible. I'm here because I couldn't imitate him. And he said, hey, good on you, man. Go for it. He said that in his own tone. Then I did this. Oh, what a ply! This is an absolutely wonderful atmosphere. Tendulkar's on fire. Smashed him all over the place. And then I saw his laughter, and I said, "This is self-actualization for me." So we actually did an episode where both of us are Tony Craig.
All right, a dear friend and somebody who's really a pioneer at what he does. Seeing him after a while is just wonderful to be able to catch up with him. Please welcome Vikram Sathaye. And the reason Vikram is here is he is India's foremost cricket comedian. It's a one-horse race because it was him that invented the genre and him that continues the genre. And B, he's got a couple of great gigs coming up, one in Mumbai, one in Pune. The one in Mumbai is 24th of January, 8 p.m. 24th, 8 p.m. Karishma Hall, 5th floor at the iconic Ravindranath Mandir in Prabhadevi. Tickets are live on Book My Show, and over the course of the next hour, along with some great music on the radio, if you're listening to us audio-wise, you'll probably hear good bursts of conversation, and if you're watching us on video, it's just the conversation. Vikram, wonderful to see you. How are you, my friend?
Excellent. Good to see you after a long time, and discussing the fact that the first time we met was in MTV and MTV is shut. So it's a good start to a reunion.
Yeah, another lifetime, my friend. And indeed, I want to talk about how, for you, as a kind of a marketing whiz in that particular time, the fact that you chose comedy and this branch of comedy couldn't have been an easy choice for you to make, especially if given peer pressure at the time. I'm sure there are enough people in the family and the extended relative circle who probably thought you had gone cuckoo in the head.
Absolutely. And especially after doing MBA in marketing, and then those MTV times, as you said, were great times for marketing. But they used to call me filler then, because when the MTV VJ hunt happened and we discovered the Brochas and the Nikhil Chinnappas of the world, so in the interim period, you needed somebody to go on stage and do something. And in college, I would do these impersonations of Tendulkar and Tony Craig, and then they said, okay, fine, you should do this. And then everybody would come, why is this guy getting the most laughs? And I was like, hey, this is a great break from doing PowerPoint and Excel. So it started then. I used to be a Nautanki in school and college, but I never thought this was a profession, because middle class Pune family, do engineering or medicine, failed them, got to an MBA. But then when people started laughing, that moment came when Sony actually offered me to go to the World Cup in 2003 because they saw one of my imitations. And that changed my life. And then it was that decision in 2004, how do I do without a salary? And thankfully, I always say this jokingly, I am somebody who does not like watches, I don't like cars, and I don't like attention. So my operational cost is very limited. So I thought that this is a good decision. I get to watch cricket. I'm a failed cricketer. I played under 19. I was in the probables for my state. I said, hey, the reason I do comedy is to enjoy the game. And thankfully, over a period of time, that time there was no YouTube, so we didn't know what stand-up comedy was. Though Pula Deshpande and Vapu Kale, in Maharashtra, if you live, they're beyond comedians, they're literateurs. But I knew that, hey, there's a grammar to this. And then when I came back, the CET Awards happened, and that 10-minute clip pre-YouTube made me into a stand-up comedian. I discovered that, and then I'm here 22 years later with probably 3,000 corporate shows. And then for the first time, doing the Trial Ball, which is the first public stand-up show on cricket that I'm doing.
I normally try and make it easier for my guests by talking about my failure stories and then egg them on to talk about their failure stories. So I was going to talk about my failure story and then have you say I'm a failed cricketer. But such is your genuine honesty and modesty as a human being that I didn't even have to do that with you. But let me still go back. And I remember our mutual friend Cyrus Oshidar, who was creative head at MTV, and Shashank Ghosh, who was creative head at Channel V, both of whom I was voicing for. Those days there was no cutthroat competition that this voice can't be there and this everybody's doing everything. I remember going to them and auditioning for them to be with them to be VJs at both places. Both wise men pulled me aside and said, "You have a bustling creator as a radio presenter, an even more bustling creator, career as a voiceover artist. Why would you want to jeopardize your own life? This is not working for you. Go back and do the voice thing."
And was
in
it a good
retrospect,
decision?
it was a good decision, because I somehow think because VJs don't exist anymore, and the ones that we love and we know, like the Nick Hills and the Marias and the Minis, they're all doing other stuff. I wonder where I would have landed up. I just, with the advice of a few good friends and my own career, just stuck to doing what I'm doing for the last 3 decades. But it is an interesting question. Do you ask yourself that? What if the cricket had worked out?
No, I remember 10 years back we'd done an interview when I'd launched my book called How
course I
Sachin
did.
Destroyed
Of
My
course I
Life.
did.
So my book title was How Sachin Destroyed My Life, and my whole theory on that book was Sachin destroyed my entire generation because he made us look like genetic garbage. And I used to always say that when I scored 74 in under 15 game, the same day he got 324 and my mother didn't even congratulate me. So I knew my limitations as a cricketer. And I think the decision to leave cricket also was a smart one at the right time. So I would say leaving things at the right time has been my forte. And, I must tell you that I was with an IP lawyer the other day. He was telling me the maximum registrations that are happening are on voice IPs. So you chose the right profession.
Was this Aditya Desai? Some other idea. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. With the AI, there's always that fear.
Yes,
There's always
yes.
that fear. Okay, let's come to this now. It's very exciting for me. Trial ball. How long does it run? Is it a 60-minute piece? Do you take an intermission, or you just go back
It's
to
a
back?
straight 75-minute piece. And so 20 years of watching cricket closely, imitating probably 60, 70 cricketers over the last so many years, and then looking at the lighter side of fans and the people who run the game and so on and so forth. So that is something I have been doing in corporate India for a long time, but this is the one that I've created for the public because it's a lot about their experiences of watching cricket as well. So, and as you somewhere I was feeling the need to do a public show, but once you are in that corporate job of going and doing corporate comedy, so in a sense, I was like, okay, I'll be happy there. But I needed a sense of purpose. Over a period of so many years, I've always felt that non-cricket sports never got the glory. The heroes were never celebrated, and celebrated especially after the podium. Everybody celebrates you in India when you've got the medal, but the journey of a sports person is very lonely in the beginning. And I'd seen a lot of these guys come to me and they were treating me as if I was a successful sports person, and I was like, no, I would, if you remember, Rishi, we had done an event with Shantanu Moitra and Swanand Kirkire where we raised money for Krishna Patil,
Of
who
course.
after Mount
The
Everest,
mountaineer.
yeah, she didn't have money to go to the next mountain. So I was always a little cuckoo in my head where I do fundraising for athletes. And I said, hey, let me combine this. Let me put my public show, trial ball, where I'll make people laugh for 75 minutes. But after every show, I'll give out 2 scholarships for young athletes who made some kind of a mark at a national level. So that gave me a sense of purpose, and I'm going to tour now India and the world, making people laugh, but also celebrating Indian sport.
Why would you call it trial ball? You could call it bouncer, googly, I don't know. Or just what the duck, unless you don't own the IP. I don't know.
No, I have the IP, but trial ball was the name. The reason I selected, and that's a part of my act, but I'll tell you a little bit about it. Is if you remember in gully cricket, right? If you got out on the first ball and you didn't want to leave, you said trial
Correct.
ball,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I realized that two of my biggest innings in gully cricket was when I got a trial ball. So I realized that there is this one chance sometimes you get extra in life which helps you become a better cricketer, a better professional, and every person's life there was this one chance they got, and I got it because I imitated Sachin Tendulkar. So for me, it is a journey of my cricket experiences plus the trial balls I got. And I trace back all the trial balls that people have got, and they've used that trial ball to become the better version of themselves. So it's a little bit of a philosophical take, but it has a lot of gully cricket component as well.
Trial ball 24th at the Ravindra Natya Mandir in Mumbai. Show coming up in Pune, and he is going to tour the rest of the country. So, all of you listening, watching from other parts of the country, please keep your ear out for Vikram Sathaye. He spells the Sathaye with a Sathaye. Tickets on Book My Show. Please check listings. You know, I've noticed about the world of commentary that it's almost like the world of the movies. There used to be Raj Kumar, Shatrughan Sinha, Mr. Bachchan, Dharmendra, all these actors who had their own unique format of dialogue delivery. Mr. Bachchan continues to have that. Modern day actors are difficult to impersonate. You know, you can still do an Amir Khan or a Hrithik because they're technically still the earlier generation. Because modern day actors don't have that necessarily have that swagger. Everybody's gotten to this whole natural acting kind of thing. I liken that to commentary too. A Henry Blofeld, a Tony Gray, God bless his soul, a Jeffrey Boycott, and even Ravi and Sunny. We're lucky to still have Ravi, Sunny, some of them around. NASA and Atherton. If you see the current crop, it's difficult to impersonate them, or maybe they haven't really developed their style as yet. Are you doing that? Are you mixing the old with the new? Are you sticking to the classic commentators when you do your comedy?
So I think it's a very valid question. Characters in the game definitely have reduced, whether it is in commentary or for that matter, even the players. If you saw, there was Virendra Sehwag, Sachin had this own characteristic. There was Rahul Dravid who had, you look at cinema, right? Today there's a standardization of characters. In Sholay, you would remember each of the characters. In many of the earlier movies, you remember characters along with the actors. But today, if you see, it's a standardization mode. Except for the main lead actor, nobody gets any billing. The writer doesn't get he gets the least billing. So I think generally in the standardization and the corporatization of the world of art, you will feel that now everybody is looking at consumer insight. I was joking with a friend of mine that when I was 23, I used to do research on what does the youth want. Today I'm 50 and I'm still researching what the youth wants. But it has become too marketing oriented, and as a marketer, when creativity becomes about consumer insight and making something, they all start looking the same. When creativity is about telling a story which you want to tell, there are a lot of interesting characters. So similarly, I would like to believe that when you're conditioned to behave in a certain pattern, your commentary all sounds the same. There is no so whatever said and done, Sidhu was a natural, right? Jeffrey Boycott was a natural. And Sidhu, I remember once speaking to him, I said, how did you develop this? He said, it came to me 4 a.m. in the morning. And I remember Rahul Dravid said, whole life he didn't speak a word, and suddenly it's all coming out. But there was a sense of allow yourself to be the person you are and not standardized based on consumer requirements. So I think across segments you are seeing a very same kind of an actor also coming through. Where is the characteristics in the different actors? It's going down. I think it will come back. When people start wanting characters, it will come back.
Interesting. So you're going to predominantly stick to the classics, the big guys.
No, so impersonations was the way I started my career, but now it's a lot of it is pure stand up where I observe what's happening, whether simple things like, to give you an example, what will be there in the act. I mean, how fans behave, how fans get, why the Virat Kohli fan club is little different from the Rohit Sharma fan club. What is the stadium experiences all across the world? How does it happen in India versus happening at the SCG or the Lord's cricket ground? But it's a full stand-up take on all these issues. Plus, there is a take on why cricket became popular in India and how it was a British conspiracy. So I've used cricket as a metaphor and looked at every aspect of humanity, plus observations on MS Dhoni, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Sachin Tendulkar, Shubman Gill. So all these characters, as you would say, are part of my storytelling of cricket. So impersonations earlier used to be a sizable section. It's not a big section, but it comes intermittently as we go through the
Yeah,
journey.
because for Vikram Sathaye's fans, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say this, not just fans who've seen you video-wise, but people who've seen all your corporate shows, they love that. Because you don't just impersonate accents and the way a person delivers his stuff on the mic, you also do this beautiful thing about batting stances. Bowling actions and things like that, which is really unique. You know, stand-up comedians don't do that normally. For for which you've got to pay a little bit of cognizance to. So I'm glad you're keeping a bit of that. But otherwise, you're saying it's going to be a regular stand-up comedy, except that everything is woven around
Yeah.
the sport that you love. Honestly, it's not easy writing for comedy. Veer Das tells me he has a whole team. He has Amog Ranadive and the other guy who's now directed his movie. I forget his name. All these guys who sit in a room and they trash out ideas. Do you have a writing room or is it just you?
So for me, I was not born to become a comedian. Veer and a lot of these young comedians are guys who prepared to be a stand-up comedian. So for me, stand-up comedy is my story. So I generally feel that if I'm going to come and say something for 45 minutes, it's going to be my story. So I don't need writers at all. So because I'm not a prolific comedian, I'm not releasing one act every 6 months. I keep evolving my act, and every 6 months my 40 minutes of my 30 minutes of my act keeps changing. But the joy of writing it myself is the reason I do creativity. So I'm not running a ship where I need 5 writers because I have to churn out 40 creatives. That's when these guys require a lot of teams, because the quantity of work that young comedians do today is very, very large. I am a very happy soul, as I said. So I do my little bit and I'm very happy with it. Having said that, what you need are researchers. So I have a couple of guys who just, suppose I'm thinking on, hey, today my observation is going to be how Virat Kohli has batted in the last 5 innings, right? So I'll just tell the guy that, can you pick out anything interesting that you have read? So he'll say, oh, Virat Kohli in the last so and so has done this. Then I may use that person or my assistant to riff and just check what he thinks about my material. So you need a little bit of energy for the table tennis to happen, but the core content and the thoughts are purely yours. So my journey is like that.
Kavi Shastri is the guy I was thinking of. Kavi Shastri, Ranadive, these guys are all
Yeah.
writing for me. So the spectacular. I'd like to talk about how you did mention at the top, you're giving away these wonderful, scholarships, charitable purses. Some of it has started off with your own money being spent, your own investment. But you've taken table tennis players from the junior, sub-junior level. Any other sports?
Yeah.
What have you done in the shows so far?
So when I soft launched these 2 shows, the first one I did in Pune, the second one was with the Mumbai Indians fan club in Mumbai. So there were 4 scholarships I gave, and it was all 10 to 12-year-olds who have already made a mark at the state and the national level. So there's a small story I'll recount, and I believe that is the reason that drove me to even do this. Simone Biles, the greatest gymnast in the world, her foster parents would leave her at a gymnasium instead of a school, where she would just hang there. And she was hanging there because the parents would come and pick her up in the evening, and she saw gymnasts, and that was good enough for her to become the greatest in the world.
Wow.
So sometimes exposure and little bit of hand holding helps you create champions. And I just felt that when I was with these young people watching these guys play, and you just came and said, hey, well played, for a 10-year-old. Unfortunately, nobody says to them. They say to cricketers because they have all the glory. And I realized that, hey, at this point, no, they just need a little bit of appreciation. And today, if you realize, sports persons cannot be created because the amount of money required to even get a ticket to play a game in, say, Croatia is not there. So the fact that I could go and see them practice, so I go to every one of these clubs where they play, spend time with them, then their person helps me select. I don't select, the coach helps me select these two players. I get them on stage, I tell the crowd to give them a standing ovation, and then I give the scholarship because I want them to feel that somebody cares for them. And when they see a comedian, humor for sport is fun because they're enjoying also. They feel, hey, he comes from Mumbai, thoda sa ye celebrity type ka aadmi hai, ye bhi celebrate kar raha hai, but it makes a lot of difference. And then I request, hopefully with a little number of people increasing in that kitty, I'll request my cricketer friends to post for them. The moment they get appreciations, their performance gets better, is what I feel.
Wonderful. How much of audience interaction is there in trial ball? They always say comedians pick on the first three rows. Are you going to do that? Or are you going to walk into the crowd and get people to come up? Of course, when you give away the scholarships, yes, but otherwise.
You and me are old school. We are old. So that's all.
Yeah.
Period. So as you know, my entire journey was corporate, where you didn't take on the audiences. Times have changed now. Now it happens in corporate India also. So I have never taken on anybody in the audience. I just feel that if you have art in you, you just perform, you make people laugh and go. So I'm not against people who do it, but somehow I'm not comfortable looking down on somebody. That I'll do in when I look down on the characters in my stand-up. But I feel the audience, I feel uncomfortable. I'm a low conflict person, so I don't like to pick on people. But there is a portion in the act where I imitate people and tell people to guess. So I, have section A, section B. I'll imitate, say, an Indian cricketer here, an Australian cricketer here. So many times I do these engaging ones, and that makes people very happy, where they can recognize who is the cricketer I'm imitating. So yeah, audience interaction is relatively low in my stand-up, but because I'm doing public shows, I might increase the component a little bit. With corporate, you don't do that because they don't call you for the next gig.
Well said. Very honestly said. Well, we want to just find out how carefully you've been listening to this interview. So we're going to open up a line right now for you to answer a contest question. Vikram has been kind to say that maybe he'll send you and a partner to go if you're quick on the uptake and answer this question. Vikram Sathaye worked at a famous media house in the marketing department. Which media house stroke channel did he work at in the marketing department, Vikram Sathaye? A big hint, a big clue would be that that channel doesn't exist anymore in India. So, one space your answer, space your name. Type it and send it to our in-house WhatsApp line, 9833943943. Easy way to remember it, the last three digits are our frequency, 94.3 Radio 1. So, 9833943943. And if you get the name of the media house correctly, maybe you and your partner will go and see this wonderful show called Trial Ball at the Ravindranath Mandir. You know so many cricketers, and a lot of them have such an amazing sense of humor. Sehwag, for example, great sense of humor. Sachin Tendulkar is a dear friend of yours, great sense of humor. Is Sachin's sense of humor underestimated? I mean, he more often than not, he's serious, but he's got a beautiful smile on his face. How good is his sense of humor?
Oh, it's amazing. Because see, you have to understand that from age 16, he's got the global exposure of being the prince and all of that. So the observations he has is amazing. It's just that his image has been now made into somebody who's that Sachin Tendulkar and Bharat Ratna. So he would never say that in public. But if you see some of the episodes of What the Duck, you will realize, especially the Sehwag and Sachin episode, he continuously is pulling Sehwag's case. So you know it is there in him, but it's difficult for him, unlike Sehwag, to say whatever he wants. And I always say this, that for me, Sehwag, 2008, when he said this line, Ravi Shastri interviewed him in Sri Lanka, and I was standing next to that interview session, and Ravi went, "Well, Virendra Sehwag, the ball was coming onto the bat, not much grass on it. How did you deal with the bouncer there?" And he said, "ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है, ball बल्ले पे आ रही थी, मैंने मार दी." And that day I knew this guy had humor. And by the way, I take a little credit in Sehwag's journey is when he retired and he said, "साढ़े साहब कुछ मज़ेदार करते हैं." So I was the first one to go to him, and we did Viru ke Fande. And that's what created, I call him the monster that he has become now, with all the fun and humor that he does.
He's terrific. He's terrific. And Tony Gregg, in a strange way, there's a comic connection there. Did the good man see you do enough of his impersonations before he passed? Yeah?
Yeah, I was lucky because that's what life for me was. That when 2003 I went to the World Cup and the Sony people said, "Okay, what are you going to do?" I said, "I'll start with a Tony Gregg impression and Sachin Tendulkar impression." So I think there was George who was the producer. He said, "Oh, that's a good thing. Let me take you somewhere." I went inside a room and there's the 6'7" Tony Craig standing there, and I'm like, no way, this is not possible. I'm here because I couldn't imitate him. And he said, "Hey, good on you, man. How go for right?" He said that in his own tone. Then I did this. "Oh, what a ply! This is an absolutely wonderful atmosphere. Tendulkar's on fire." Smashed him all over the place. And then I saw his laughter, and I said, "This is self-actualization for me." So we actually did an episode where both of us are Tony Craig.
Unbelievable. In What the Duck, this is?
No, this was on extra innings
On
years back.
extra innings. And Jeffrey Boycott. You
He's
know
a
me, but
wonderful cricketer. He's got to be understood in the right context. Ganguly, I tell him, pitch it up. If you got to be a butt bowler, you got to pitch it up. It means nothing.
you've got to be a great social scientist to be able to pick up even the small intricacies of Mahendra Singh Dhoni's stance, the way he strokes his face, he adjusts his clothing, everything. It's just crazy. Has Mahi met you and laughed at your MS Dhoni?
So many times, and he actually 2006 when he was about to just be the MS Dhoni, he was such a visionary. We were in a room in South Africa together, and imagine at that time 2006 he said, "साठे साहब आपको मैं कोई भी कहानी नहीं बताऊंगा क्योंकि ऑटोबायोग्राफी में आप कुछ लिखने नहीं दोगे."
Correct.
He said that, and till today he's not appeared on any interview of anyone because and I thought, and one day I thought to myself, oh, he had decided even before he became captain that he's not going to give us any material that we can use and make money, because he said, यार मेरा content लेके तुम पैसे कमाओगे और मैं नहीं कमा पाऊंगा. So jokes apart, he's somebody who's private, and knowing him, he'll reveal all the content either through a film or a OTT program that he himself directs.
Makes sense. He has creative control. So tell me about the Pune show. This is after 24th is Ravindra Mandir here in Mumbai. Do you go to Pune the next day?
No, 23rd is Pune.
Or one day before?
Yeah, yeah.
And where is that show?
That is in a place called DP Road. It's Bougainvillea. It's a big venue, and Erandwana, Pune.
And that is hometown for you?
Yeah, it is hometown.
Do you tweak it according to the city you go to? Trial ball.
Contextualize Pune humor is a little bit, though the show 95% remains the same, but 5% little bit of linkages here and there you definitely do. You mentioned cricketers from that town if possible, and because there is a local connect to the cricketers that have come from there, like Ruturaj Gaikwad, or in the past ex-captain of India Chandu Borde. So you just contextualize a little bit. But otherwise, the act more or less remains the same.
Trial Ball's debut show was during the was played out for the Mumbai Indian fan club. I noticed seeing the great Sunandan Lili there.
Yes.
Lots of celebrities. Yeah. How did people react to it? I mean, how did people in the public eye react to it? Sonali Kulkarni was there.
Yeah. I actually felt very good in that show because at the age that I am, when you are performing for a younger audience, even if it's cricket of the language that they understand, you want to be relevant with the kind of humor that you do.
True.
And they were all the MI influencers. The average age was 25, 30, and to get them to laugh for 75 minutes, that day I realized कि यार अपन में कुछ बचा है. Some runs we can still score. There is a little bit of Pujara in us. So I was very happy. And I mean, cricket is a language. It's a metaphor for life, right? Even in my corporate talks, when I'm doing motivational speaking is the wrong word, storytelling. Everything that I learned out of life was through cricket, whether it's great partnerships, whether it is understanding the opponent and that's why what I like about this game is that it tells you stories of life which inspire you, entertain you, and you feel good about it as well.
You started coming alive on Instagram again, so what would the handle be? Why don't you get that out?
That's Vikram Sathaye, at VIKRAMSATH. This
is actually an interesting opportunity for all of you who are interested in providing sports scholarships to budding under 15, under 17, under 14, tennis, table tennis players, any sport actually, gymnastics, across the board, not necessarily just cricket. Reach out to Vikram, because at the end of his show, Trial Ball, he gives out these scholarships. And obviously, if you're contributing, your name, your brand will be there. And he plans to take this nationwide, and it might be a good opportunity for you guys to tie up and help grassroots sports and create a movement in this country. So, which is one city that you'd really, really like to go and do this show at?
Actually, there's no specific preference, but I'd like to do it in the Bay Area, where I get all our IT boys, Tambrams, Maharashtrian Brahmins, all to give their money that they made through large exits and give it to people.
That's a very good answer, because if you ask a rock fan, he'll say, I want to play in Shillong. You know what I mean?
I want to play in the valley, the Silicon Valley, where all are Indians who have made big money, because I believe that they are very patriotic, they like sport. Wherever we travel across the world, when we are watching cricket or I'm performing, you will get the maximum amount of love from NRI audiences. And I believe they have the money to contribute to the making of Indian sport, or for that matter, Indian art. And slowly, I want Trial Ball to go to the artist space. Like a lot of artists, my mother's an Indian classical music teacher. So I see a lot of performers who are not getting the due, especially tabla players or sitar players or whatever, because now everything is produced in the studio, so actual performers don't get the recognition. So my idea is sports, art and science and creativity. So slowly I'll go there, but I'll get all these IT boys come together and hopefully they'll contribute in the movement.
That's lovely. And if, Vikram said to me, he said, there's got to be social consciousness in all entertainment that he does. And full respect to him for making Trial Ball that, with these scholarships going out. And indeed, your friends are kindred souls. And I mean, Shantanu Moitra, Swanand Kirkire, this is your hang, your set of people. And they feel exactly that way. Shantanu will go up into the mountains, do some cycling, and then come back and do a show here. Swanand is also looking at creating social impact. Would you say you're surrounded by the right people?
Actually, I select those who have the same philosophy. I mean, we are a little bit of a old school, little bit idealistic, where you want good things to happen. And I've been part of many of these good institutes. For example, the Pune International Center, which is a think tank, the Chamber of Commerce, and many of these art groups, where it's good to hang out with artists, good to hang out with people who are thinking the right thing for the nation. Because generally in cities like Mumbai and Delhi, we are surrounded with people who are only talking money. And I mean, yes, I like a comfortable life, but for me, money is not that. And I'm not spiritual at all. I don't believe that I have this thing, I understand the world. I just feel that I can do with old monk also.
With the right beverage, everything comes by. You get by with a little help from your friends, to quote a very famous Beatles song. There you have it. It's Trial Ball, 24 January, 8 p.m. Tickets alive at Book My Show, cricket comedy special by Vikram Sathaye, Karishma Hall, 5th floor, Ravindranath Mandir, Prabha Devi. Another final opportunity for you to take you and your plus one to that show. This is the contest question. Vikram Sathaye talked about a famous cricket legend friend of his. Also a Maharashtrian. Who is that cricket legend friend of his? Get on to WhatsApp, 9833943943. Remember, the last three digits are 94.3 Radio 1, 943, 9833943943. 1 space the name of the cricketer, space your name, type it and send it, and we might send you and a friend to a show of Trial Show. Vikram, thank you for rolling.
Thank you.
Cheers. All the best.
Thank you for having me.
See you soon.
94.3 Radio 1.